Thank you for staying tuned. St. Lucia's membership from the worldwide network of junior achievers has been terminated. The notice came from the president and CEO of the JA Worldwide Inc., Ashish Advani, on August 22nd to the local administrator, the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce. A number of infractions have been highlighted as the reason for the dismissal. We have more in this report.
The Junior Achievement Program is boasted as the world's largest organization dedicated to educating students in grades K to 12 about entrepreneurship, work readiness, and financial literacy through experimental hands-on programs. It has been a staple on the list of the youth-involved initiatives at schools for several years and aligns well with plans for the government's proposed youth economy. Among the infractions listed for St. Lucia's dismemberment are a board chair transition has been pending for more than a year and no update has been provided, limited board engagement for more than a year, no on-site executive director for more than a year, no active staff members since October 2022, no programmatic activities since 2020, audit reports have not been submitted for more than 2 years, member fees have not been paid for more than 2 years, and no response was received from the organization in response to the inactive status letter sent on the 20th of September 2021. Based on St. Lucia's non-compliance with the Junior Achievers Membership Agreement and after consultations, both Junior Achievers Worldwide and the Junior Achievers Americas ROC have agreed to waive the informal and formal review processes and dismiss Junior Achievers St. Lucia from the global organization. This termination includes without limitation all rights and entitlements of Junior Achievers St. Lucia to use any and all tangible, intangible, and intellectual property, including derivatives of Junior Achievers Worldwide. Among other restrictions, Junior Achievers St. Lucia has been ordered to immediately stop the use of all names, trademarks, and logos owned by Junior Achievers Worldwide or containing the Junior Achievers Worldwide mark or name, cease to represent itself as a member of the Junior Achievers Worldwide network, and immediately stop use of all Junior Achievers properties, which may include, but is not limited to, training youth in concepts and practice of entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and vocational training, including all modifications, local adaptations, translations of Junior Achievers works. Reporting for Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
A St. Lucian worker who was recruited into the seasonal farm worker program in Canada has chronicled a tale of ill treatment of the St. Lucian cohort during the contract period. Latoya Ben says her stint on the farm was less than desirable and exposes what she says is the untold story behind the program. Ben claimed that the St. Lucian farmers were subject to ill treatment and subpar remuneration. She notes that while she remains grateful for the opportunity, she is disheartened by the situations she had to face.
Back in April 2022, Latoya Ben was one of 13 women selected to participate in the Canada Caribbean Seasonal Agricultural Program. At that time, the program was reinvigorated to introduce women as it had been mainly male-dominated. When the offer was initially made, Ben's face was filled with delightful anticipation as she viewed it as a life-changing opportunity. However, that expectation was replaced with a shock of sadness as the avenue did not live up to the billing. The disgruntled worker reveals that the conditions were grueling and that many of the workers were subjected to dehumanizing conditions, disrespect, name-calling, and below-standard pay. Ben says while she was pleased to be offered the opportunity, a more thorough probing process needs to be done by the relevant authorities prior to sending workers off to foreign countries.
Well, my experience, I appreciate what, the government tried to do to help young women to elevate themselves, to get a job in Canada and to better of themselves. But the experience on the farm is very horrible, you understand? For me, the government just need to investigate, a little bit more of these farm owners, you understand? But at the end of the day, it was not nice, you understand? It was not pleased. It was a little bit disrespectful from the farm owners, you understand?
Ben doubled down, saying that she has been revolted by the entire ordeal and has left her unsure whether she would partake in such an opportunity ever again.
I turned off by the experience because the treatment was very, very bad. Very bad, the people didn't show us no appreciation, They call us hungry dogs, The guy, the owner of the farm kicked one of the St. Lucian lady, you understand? We're working, we have to work to pay ourselves. That means including that, you have to depend on the amount of strawberries you pick. you know that's what you get paid for. You understand? We have a medical insurance. It doesn't cover up anything for us. So, you know, it was a little bad experience for us, but at the end of the day, you know, it was just an experience for me, but I don't think that I can put myself into this kind of thing again.
Ben laments that what was most disheartening is that since her arrival back on island, no officials have reached out to her to hear her gripes.
I thought that, you know, I would get some kind of assistance, some kind of help, some kind of welcome back home. Nobody hasn't come and talked to me, or none of the women who went up together with me. So we're just there waiting to see what's coming up, you know. We don't get no compensation, nothing for that, you know. We wish we could have get something, at least, you know, we didn't finish our contract, you understand? So we come home like...
So when did you guys come back?
We came, some of us come, I came like a week ago. Some ladies come Sunday. Another set coming this Sunday. So
this situation does not seem unique to St. Lucian workers, as Jamaica was reported to have withdrawn its workers from 4 Canadian farms since the start of this year due to unacceptable conditions. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Kareem Murphy.
With approximately 2 weeks left to conclude the national census, the Department of Statistics has outlined a number of issues, the most pressing being the security of enumerators and citizens during the data collection exercise. Deputy Director of Statistics Richard Harris says he understands concerns given the recent upsurge in crime. However, the department has provided enumerators with identification to prove legitimacy.
With every census exercise, there are instances where some families refuse to cooperate with enumerators and accuse them of having malicious intentions. However, this challenge has been exacerbated this year due to the uptick in crime and the prospect of criminals taking advantage of the exercise under the pretext that they are enumerators. Deputy Director of Statistics Richard Harris speaks on this issue, highlighting some of the measures the department had to employ in order to protect the interest of both parties.
Some of the fundamental challenges that we have faced thus far. We have some of the normal challenges, like, you know, persons being anxious to respond. So we've had, you know, some setbacks in terms of persons just outright refusing to cooperate with us. Okay, but that is normal in every census, every survey that we conduct. So. Yeah, but that it still remains a fundamental challenge, and it's only through, I guess, continued engagement of individuals trying to make the populace, the general populace, understand, you know, the reason why this data is critical to our development and so on. Hopefully, more and more persons would be, you know, once we can communicate that understanding, then hopefully in the future more persons would be willing to participate in these types of exercises. So that's one of the fundamental challenges.
With a high incidence of crime, his advice in this case is for all enumerators and supervisors to ensure that they are at all times carrying and exhibit their identification cards to prove that indeed they have been assigned by the Department of Statistics. On the other hand, citizens should equally insist on seeing identity cards to prove that their visitors are legit, to avoid falling prey to unscrupulous individuals.
Unfortunately, the crime itself is preventing us from collecting that type of information. So we've even had instances we've employed, engaged the services of the police to help to help with our enumerators feel secure that they conduct the field exercises in some neighborhoods. Yeah, so unfortunately, this is where we're at in St. Lucia right now. So that has been crime, security of our officers has been a main issue. Of course, it's on the other side as well, where because of the high levels of criminality happening on the island right now, we find that persons are very anxious about letting enumerators into their homes. You know, we've even had some incidents where, you know, the police was called because somebody didn't trust what our enumerator was telling them in terms of being a legitimate employer of ours.
If in doubt, Harris advises that citizens reach out to the department for confirmation.
So they have a letter identifying themselves. They also have identification cards. We have uniforms that we encourage them to wear so they can be easily identified as census enumerators. And of course, we encourage anybody who may be anxious to call the office. The person, the enumerator, can provide his name, and we will let you know if he or she is, a legitimate employee of ours.
Harris says citizens should have enumerators and supervisors execute their duties devoid of anything that will derail the exercise, which is of national significance. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
There has been much discourse about St. Lucia becoming the 5th CARICOM state to become a full member of the Caribbean Court of Justice. With plans underway for St. Lucia's accession to the CCJ, it has been observed that there is a disconnect between St. Lucia's position as a contracting party to the agreement that gave rise to the CCJ and its plans to become a full member. Journalist Earl Bousquet provides some clarity on this matter.
On March 29th, St. Lucia signaled its intention to become the 5th CARICOM country to have a full membership with the Trinidad-based Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, replacing the London-based Privy Council as the region's final court of last resort in civil and criminal matters. With this announcement came much ambiguity about the island's current position. In order to bring about clarification on the process to the average citizen, Earl Bousquet explains the steps toward becoming a full member.
There are two aspects of the CCG. You can become a member of the CCG and you pay your dues to be a member like we are. We pay $2 million a year to be a part of the CCG, to be a member of the CCG, to be able to send cases to the CCG, so the CCG can take a decision on a case. But if there is a case in the courts in St. Lucia, and the person does not like the ruling and wants to appeal that ruling, he cannot appeal to the CCG, because the second part of the CCG is that it is what you call in legal terms an appellate jurisdiction, which simply means that that is where you can appeal. But since St. Lucia has not joined the appellate jurisdiction because we are still part of the Privy Council, Mr. Fevrier or any other St. Lucian who is not in agreement with the decision of a judge in a case can only appeal to the Privy Council.
At present, the court receives cases in its appellate jurisdiction from Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and Guyana. In the original jurisdiction, the court receives cases from the 12 contracting parties to the agreement establishing the court inclusive of St. Lucia. Decisions of the CCJ in both the appellate jurisdiction and the original jurisdiction are final, but the jurisdictions do not overlap. Bousquet further explains the financial benefits that the CCJ will afford citizens seeking justice.
So you don't have to leave the country to get justice in a CCJ case. But in terms of the Privy Council, you must have at least $50,000 to start off with, because, like I said, before COVID, a lawyer was $25,000 just to retain him or her, because you have to spend a lot of time in England. Then you have to pay them by the day. And then you have to pay $10,000 or pounds to register the case in England. So you have to sell land and house to get justice under the Privy Council. But with the CCJ, you can attend a court case at your home on your phone.
To join the CCJ, there needs to be an amendment to the Constitution, a constitution that, according to Buzke, ties the navel string of the island to the royal crown so tight that the government cannot change it unless there is a 66.6 referendum, that which is possible under the St. Lucia Labour Party administration, which took a 13 out of 17 majority in the July 2021 general elections.
In the case of St. Lucia, what the Prime Minister has said is that we will become a republic, because right now St. Lucia, the government of St. Lucia has a 15-2 majority in Parliament, which is more than a 2/3, and therefore it can change the Constitution. But the Prime Minister has said he's not in a hurry. Before you go into the republic, let us move out of the British Privy Council, and when that happens, when any St. Lucian will be able to appeal to the CCJ, because in the case of the CCJ, while you have to go to England for a Privy Council case, the CCJ will come and meet in St. Lucia on your case, or they will meet online, as they have been doing for quite some time.
As defined by CARICOM in the original jurisdiction, the CCJ functions as the court indicated in Chapter 9 of the revised treaty, that is, the only court with the compulsory jurisdiction to interpret the revised treaty. When the court sits in this jurisdiction, it is an international court with a treaty-based jurisdiction applying principles of international law. As an appellate court, it is the final court of appeal for those countries which have enabled the jurisdiction in the national legislation, being Barbados, Dominica, Guyana, and Belize. Although the judges are currently drawn from the same pool, when they sit on the appellate jurisdiction, they constitute a national court for the relevant country. St. Lucia's appointed committee under the chairmanship of former CCJ President Sir Dennis Byron will provide much needed insight on St. Lucia's ascension to the CCJ on Thursday, September 15th. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Jasmine Duncan.
Please stay with us. We'll be right back after this.